Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Hey, look. Sometimes our audience need to catch the before the show conversations
I know.
before we get to the show
We gotta
conversation.
stop hiding that part, I guess. You know what I'm saying? That's the candid stuff, you know what I'm saying? Not trying to clean it up, but but to
You gotta
bring
play.
y'all
You
up
gotta
to
play the
speed.
politics game. Yeah, yeah.
Just
Bring them up to
a little
speed.
bit. Bringing it up to speed, man. We were just having a conversation, man, and I was talking about how just talking about Kanye in general, man, because his name came up as a part of Puffy's trial, and I just was thinking about everything that's going on with him and around him, and it's just like I've given up on him as a human, and it's just like, man, you really need to just go somewhere and hide for the rest of your life, like, and because you're not gonna change, like, it just the story came out where he was talking about his mother and finding his porn in his mother's house, and it was like two gay men, I guess gay men porn, and that's what led to him blowing his little cousin, which
Two
at the
cousins or
time,
whatnot.
think about this from this point of view. He was like, what did he say? What was he was 14 and his cousin was 11, but that 3 years might not sound like much, but when you put it from the point of view, he was
Yeah,
a
when that
freshman in
age.
high
Yeah,
school and they were a
yeah. When
sixth
you're that
grader.
age.
When you think of it from that point of
Yeah,
view,
yeah,
you were in ninth grade and you blew a sixth grader. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's
yeah.
just, and then you start hearing that he was, kind of connected to some of this little mess with Puff and his one of the 50s baby mama is what the internet says it is. It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
and then all this other weird stuff he got going
All
on,
the stuff that that's in
attacking all these
between.
people.
Yeah,
And it's just like, dude, you almost 50, if not 50. I don't know his age, but he got to be about 48, 49, maybe 50. And it's just like, when does the redemption happen? You were asking me, you don't think he got no redemptive period he can have in his life? And I'm just like, he's so far along, I don't see it. And he's not even trending that direction. In reality, most people, you start seeing the change where they start shifting as a personality at some point in time.
yeah.
The
Around
shift hasn't
40s.
occurred.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
around somebody. Oh, I'm gonna speak for like men. By the time we hit our 40s, we start looking back, nostalgic periods, no matter how like crazy our youth might have been in our teens, 20s, 30s, and we can sit back and like laugh, "Hi, man, I was a wild boy back then." But then you get to a point to say, "All right, well, you know what? I'm cool now. I'm
I
cool
would
now."
do it differently with that, or maybe that ain't me no more. You start trending towards changing. You don't see the world exactly the same. Now, you may be the same person in a lot of ways, but you can see the shift in most people where they start
Right, right.
subtly changing,
And
slowing
and
down.
before we went on air, like I we talked about like your Mike Tysons, your Bobby Browns, those who had like wild past back in the day, and then they got to a point of where they seem a little bit more chill now. They more about their families, their kids, and they're starting to contribute to life in a different way. But then it's like, but now there's still a lot of cases where some older men never hit that switch into their 50s, 60s, 70s. Your Hugh Hefners never hit that switch. Your R. Kelly's never hit that switch to like, you know what, I gotta grow up. I gotta shift, I gotta change. I can't be living like I was living when I was 20. Yeah, whatever I did might have been, no matter how screwed up it might have been. At some point, you got to get to the point of being like, you know what, I'm cool on that now. And when you get to the point like you were mentioning with Kanye, to where you just like, bro, I'm damaged goods for like, I can't repair this. You have a car that you can make repairs on, and you got cars like you mentioned that are total, just completely damaged goods, and you're not gonna recover from it.
Yeah.
And what you were
He's
saying, man,
total.
Kanye might be one of those ones that just he ain't gonna hit that corner.
Kanye, Kanye's total as as a as a
As a human,
vessel.
as a
He's
vessel.
total. As a human vessel, he's total. His brain is ruined. It's no, he's been through too much, done too much. He's too twisted. He's too far. This dude is gone. We keep trying to give him a pass because you think that there's this genius
You
line
want the
inside.
old
It's,
Kanye? Yeah, nah. It's just
it's,
crazy inside. It's just crazy.
it's nothing but crazy left over. And look, man, in order to be like a real genius artist, there's a level of crazy that's there, which is why AI will
Mm-hmm.
never replace humans. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to be a little off in order to have that genius. But there's a stage you can cross over the line where it's just like, all right, there's no diversity. And he had a nice balance to it. But once balance is lost, either you become sane or you become crazy. And the balance was lost on the crazy side. So there's no genius left.
Yeah.
The genius was when he was walking the line between the two. When he was more in the sane world. He's just insane now. He's done.
I don't know if there's any coming back. Like you said, I don't like.
And that's kind of weird.
I was being hopeful. At first I was being hopeful. Like, you know what? But then when I thought about like the other cases of individuals who they never made a change, it's like, yo, it is possible that somebody might be just that damaged to where they ain't gonna come back. Like it's over for them. It is a such thing as being, like you said, a damaged vessel to where you ain't coming back. That's scary, though. That's scary.
Yeah, but you know what hurts it? His success is what makes it where it's gonna be impossible to come back. He would have to hit rock bottom, we thought he was hitting rock bottom. He never hit rock bottom. He would have to hit rock bottom in order to come back. It takes that level of failure in order to become humble, in order to create the humility in him that he would need in order to become a changed person.
Yeah,
but I don't see any scenario where he's ever gonna be forced to be humble, and so therefore.
The sad thing is, it ain't just him. There's so many other examples, other individuals that it's. I hate to be, because I like to be a optimistic individual, especially when it comes to humanity.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a lot of people that it's over for, and you see that a lot in the industry, and then. The deep part of it, I don't know if it's a deep part of it, but just what we know on the surface. If some things seem normal on the surface, before the show, we mentioned like Fat Joe and some of the things that he might be going through in his, you know what I'm saying, behind the scenes.
Yeah,
like you seem like a stand-up guy in the public eye, but then you got so much crud behind the scenes, underneath the surface. When you see somebody who's displaying like unsettledness, craziness, and that's peeking through the surface, versus somebody who seems normal and they got so much below the surface. So that means that how much dirt or how much crud and craziness is below the surface for you to peek through the surface.
Yeah.
To show. So that means you have to be that far gone in order for for it to be shown in the way that it's shown. So that kind of lets you know how really deep rooted a lot of this stuff is. Because for most of your industry people, they're able to maintain some kind of public eye normalcy with a bunch of craziness underneath the surface. But then once you get that little bit of a peak, like that iceberg thing, the tip of the iceberg is just it's nothing. But once you peeking through and you showing some iceberg, how much is below that surface? It's got to be massive.
Massive, bro. That's a great way to put it, because ultimately we sit back and we look at those people and say, oh, they kept it real. These people keep it real. Kanye gets a pass for looking like the person that keeps it real and occasionally slips and lets stuff out about the industry and this and that. Nah, man, it ain't real. It's just it pushed through. It pushed through.
Yeah.
You can't. Some of it's got to start leaking, even if it's leaked by him.
Yeah.
He can't even hide
start
it no
seeping
more.
out, start leaking, start coming through the cracks and whatnot, seeping through the cracks. Once it starts seeping through the cracks, you know it's deep rooted. You know it's deep rooted. Yeah. That's the scary part of it.
Yeah, man. And it could just be the reality. Ah, man. Kanye know he done blew somebody in his life enough times where it could come out that he blew somebody. So now he got to acknowledge.
I gotta say something. Yeah.
I've done this before. Now, you got to acknowledge it.
So now you can't be shocked. So now if all this other stuff come out, I done kind of told y'all what it was. Yeah. So don't be shocked when you hear
what it is. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's that. You know what I'm saying? Just to prevent for the future. It's already starting to come out. Hey, man, I ain't gonna be hide this much longer. But man, this is the with like you mentioned that I was talking about Fat Joe off the air. He got a lawsuit, man, where he's buying BBLs for 15-year-olds and flying underage girls into the country. Allegedly. Now, this is what the lawsuit is. But they're trying to put a RICO on him, like, because they're trying to say that he had a whole little group together where they were doing laundering money and all kind of other illegal acts and whatnot.
So let me ask you this though, because it is a lot of lawsuits that's coming out back to back to back to back. It's like everybody's getting hit with a lawsuit. Tyler Perry's got hit with a lawsuit. Shannon Sharp hit with a lawsuit. Like the law, is it just lawsuit season? Is it just a wave, or is it it's finally like, hey, look, we got to bring things to the forefront type of deal. Like these things are really seeping through. Like it's really madness out here.
It's both.
It's just a lot of lawsuits. A lot of lawsuits. Yeah. We just seen a Diddy thing and Diddy paying people. All right, cool. Let's get the lawsuits going. Lawsuit popping. You know, saying we just popping game on lawsuits, or is it? Hey, look, it's finally shown.
It's a little of both.
It's crazy
because you're gonna get both. You know what I'm saying? So I believe it to be a little bit of both. It's gonna be those people who feel like, okay, I finally got the confidence to speak up, and then there's gonna be those people that like, they go to bag. That's my opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So it's take it all for, until something is proven, you got to kind of take it all for a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't really overthink it. Yeah. But you do have to understand that where there's smoke, there's fire. You know what I'm saying? Like at the same time, this industry it definitely got a fire going on somewhere within it. This ain't all from nowhere. And you've been hearing it ain't all from nowhere, and it ain't all just you've been hearing this stuff whispered for a long time. Now we all know there's an element of truth to it. So whereas others may have dismissed it a lot of our lives, now we can look and say, there's something to that. How much there is to it, I don't know. How much everybody that's getting in trouble or getting lawsuits actually did, I don't know. But there's stuff going on in this industry.
Whatever it is, it's enough. I'm saying, like, whatever it is, it's enough. It's enough,
bro. It's enough.
You know what I'm saying?
I seen something with old girl Superhead, man, recently, man. And it was probably an old clip from her, but she was talking about how now all of a sudden people believe me. But back in the day, nobody believed that this type of stuff was going on.
And it was just a crazy far-fetched book that I wrote. It was you know what I'm saying, fiction. Back then it was considered fiction. You know what I'm saying?
Fiction.
But now you got to read that book as a true documentary type of deal.
And now you can look and say, well, it has been people trying to speak on this stuff for a long time. Now, I don't know that she considers herself a victim the way some of these other people may consider themselves.
No, I don't think she does, because I've heard some things come out like people speaking on her behalf based on what she said. I never heard her say it, but they were saying like when she was coming out in recent days or recent weeks or whatever. Is that she was like, nah, I was out there like that. I was getting into it, and I was a willing participant. I'm not a victim. Yeah. I was out there getting it in. I was enjoying the festivities of the moment. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think she's coming off as being victimized. Because honestly, she was taking advantage of a lot of the situations. Like she understood the situations that she was in. Yeah. She took ownership of it. Like, hey, look, all right, I'm not a victim. If anything, they're victims of me now because I'm taking advantage of the situations I'm put in. You know what I'm saying?
That was honestly her mindset from what I've heard her say herself. That was her mindset. But with that being said, though, it doesn't take away from the fact that these things were taking place in the game. Now, it's just a matter of how many people were willing participants and how many people, feel like they weren't. That's not for us to figure out, you know what I'm saying? But it does let us know this stuff was really happening. And it really makes me think.
I want to say more so than not. Yeah, for sure. Like back when we wanted to get into this whole music thing and trying to meet up with different artists and trying to get on, like that whole get on type of deal.
Yeah.
It sounded sweet. And I think most youth, when they get into some kind of art, you know what I'm saying, start curating their talent, they're eager to get into an industry like this. And they're eager to. And we can say even at our level that we were at, young college students, a little bit older even in some cases, we wanted that. But now looking at it, it's like, I'm glad nothing ever popped, nothing ever you know what I'm saying, went anywhere for somebody to try to take advantage of our situations, which
Yeah.
I would like to think that in the manner
Nah,
that they get taken advantage of, that wouldn't have been me.
nah,
But
bro.
you
Not
know
the
what
way
I'm
we
saying?
was rolling them days.
No.
Nah.
We had way too much integrity. Like as far as like the
Yeah.
things that we went along with, even in our like just our normal circles of what was popular,
Yeah.
what wasn't popular. We was never a go with the crowd type of deal.
Nah, never
But then
go
at
with
the
the
same
crowd.
time,
Way too aggressive, way too stand up for ourselves to let that stuff ride.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
hey,
Back in my college
ain't
days, I was borderline militant. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, yeah, not borderline. You were, so I just don't see. I don't see us taking the metaphoric or the real penis. You know what I'm saying? To try to get on, like you know what I'm saying?
the shaft
Ain't nobody
and
giving no
getting
shaft.
shafted.
And it's the crazy thing, right? We actually like we told a story of meeting with Kanye. We met with Kanye. Think about the crew he was
Yeah.
with back in 2004. That group of
Mm-hmm.
college dropout sissies he was hanging with, like you know what I'm saying? Like they, it all adds up now. You know what I'm saying? They all kind of
Mm-hmm.
they look like a little soft bunch. You know what I'm saying? Him and what's Diddy's butler at the time? He was with him.
Oh, Farnsworth, yeah,
Farnsworth
Farnsworth,
Bentley and they little
yeah, he used to
manager,
roll
they
with
all
them.
had their little pink sweaters on. They look little soft sweaters and stuff. They look like a little soft crew, man. So
Cardigans, yeah.
yeah, they was. I'm not shocked, man, to find out, man, just a few years before that he had a Johnson in his mouth, man. Now that you hear it and you think back to the time, like,
Oh, hold on. Mm, yeah, not our crowd, not our crowd. And there's
yeah,
nothing, especially like, yeah, no, we wouldn't have meshed. We wouldn't have meshed.
not at all, man. I be hearing them stories, man. I hear them stories that stuff coming out from Puff. Like Puff hung somebody over the balcony. I wish Puff Daddy would have tried to hang me over a balcony somewhere. Like, man, get out of here, man. Like, you've been rich since you've been middle class your whole life, and then you've been a
Oh,
millionaire
right.
since
Yeah.
then. Like,
Since you were a
man,
teen,
I
19,
wish you
20,
would
yeah.
try to act tough with
You
me.
ain't
Like, get
tough.
out of here.
Yeah, you ain't tough.
You let Puffy
Get out of here.
tough guy you. Like, yeah, like I was scared of this guy. Like, now I get you scared of what he can do to you in the industry, but physically,
But physically,
You scared of this
yeah.
dude as man to man? Like,
But
man, I wouldn't have been
the whole
famous long.
boogeyman
I
of it.
gave all that up. Man, forget that boogeyman. That's because he got bread. You know what I'm saying? You worried about,
Yeah.
and maybe they knew he was going around
Who
blowing up
they
cars behind
off
the scene.
to, yeah. But the whole thing is like, what is the muscle he has behind him? I think that was the vibrato that he was allowed to kind of have. I got industry muscle behind me. I can make anything happen. If I want to make you disappear, I can make you disappear.
That's cool. You're gonna have to make me disappear the next day though. Because when we in this
I kill,
moment
I
interacting,
kill Biggie and Tupac.
that's cool. But in this moment, you and I
Moment
interacting.
when it's a man on man situation, yeah,
When
we
it's
gonna talk
man to
about it.
man and the testosterone is flowing, I was way too stupid back then to think about what's going to happen in a month. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to be focused on this moment we sharing right
We
now.
gonna handle
And
it.
then
We
I'll
gonna
deal
handle
with
it
the
now.
future later. Yes, I'm going to get you today and you're going to get me later. You know what I'm saying? Or you're going to get me today, but one of us going to get each other today. And then whatever happens in the future, we'll
But
deal with that later.
you gonna feel me right now.
You're gonna smell my cologne today, player. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then whatever happens later, happens later. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Like what's old buddy when he was dressed up as the Joker or whatever, and
yeah.
old buddy was like chest to chest with him, like, hey, look, it's whatever, we can go for it. That's the kind of energy.
It's that.
That's the kind of
It's that
energy.
energy. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Me today at 40, I may not play it that way, but I'm just thinking about, young guys in the industry, 20,
Hothead.
21, 22, hot heads. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, nah, bro.
Because we was
You gonna do what to me? Like, you gonna do what to me? That's cool if you can pull it
yeah,
off, but you're gonna have to show me you can do that to me
we
now.
had some high heads back in the day.
Yeah.
Like I think even like with me and yourself too, like kept a calm demeanor. But like once buttons were pushed,
But
and we weren't
disrespect
gonna
won't
be
gonna be
pushed.
tolerated.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
at all. Once I felt disrespect. Matter of fact, even still to this day, like, but even more so younger, 25, 30, whatever, teens. Once I felt disrespect, nah. Now we're gonna nip this in the bud, like now. Now. This is either on the job, suit and tie on the job, in college, wherever it was.
Whatever it
It
is.
was like,
Yeah.
yeah. So definitely a music industry. Nah, if I feel disrespect, yeah, we're gonna deal with this right now. Like I've
Right.
never had a moment where I felt like biting my tongue was an issue, no matter who you were. Because for one, my father raised me that way, as far as like, nah, nobody disrespects you. You a man,
Right.
and nobody gonna test that manhood, regardless. You gonna respect me. Like, okay, you got a position here, you got this or that, but at the same time, we're both humans, and we're both having this human experience, and you're gonna respect my human experience in this vessel that I'm in.
Right.
Now, outside of whatever it is, we can deal with that, but you're not disrespecting the person. You're not gonna do that at all.
Not, it ain't gonna be like that. And at the end of the day, if you think that's if you, I'll go right back to my 9 to 5 play. If you think this contract gonna have me doing whatever you think you're gonna have me doing, you know what I'm saying? I'll go right back to a job, bro. I'll be one of them one hit
Yeah.
wonders before I let you do that to me. Like, but
See, and I think the issue is with a lot of these people is that they're afraid to have to go and do the hard work. We've never been afraid of the hard work. We've never been shy to go about it the hard way, to get our you know what I'm saying, to do what we need to do, our bootstraps. You know what I'm saying, put ourselves by our bootstraps. A lot of these people get in these situations, they see the comfort, and that comfort feels too good to them, that they're not willing to stand up for their manhood to go
yeah,
back to putting themselves up by their bootstraps. We
right.
never had a problem with that, and I
Ain't
think
got a problem.
that's a big difference maker.
Yeah, man. But man, let's get into these cigars real quick, man. Let's get
Yeah,
into these
I
cigars.
forgot about the cigars.
Yeah,
Why we
man.
here?
Uh Today, oh man, hold on. Before you pop that up real quick, let me do one thing here real quick. Let me do one thing.
You gotta get your update.
Yeah, man, we forgot about it.
I got mine. So why you doing that? I'm gonna go ahead and run mine off. So I'm smoking Rocky Patel today, man. Rocky Patel, one of
Yeah,
my fan favorites, and I haven't had it in a while. I think the last time I had this one was the last time we was at Rocky Patel's Burn in Atlanta, and I had
oh,
grabbed
yeah.
me one of them 55s, one of them
There you go.
55s. This was this is probably the second Rocky Patel that I fell in love with after the Edge. So like as far as like a top notch cigar, it was that 55. I grabbed that 55 and I said, "Oh, okay, Rocky on to something for real with this one." So to run this off real quick, we have Rapper Nicaraguan, Origin Nicaraguan, Binder Costa Rica. My first time, I didn't even know it was a Costa Rican binder. So shout out to Rocky for throwing that in there. And then filler Nicaraguan. So mainly Nicaraguan, but that binder Costa Rican, which makes sense. Costa Rica's a solid vibe, solid vibe. Got to
Yeah.
experience that at some point too, man. But yeah, but so far so good. It was the 50 what is it for his 55th birthday, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
celebrate his 55th birthday, and it was always a top notch cigar. Anytime I saw it, it would be like an immediate grab. But I haven't grabbed it in a few years. But last week I grabbed it last week. I saw it in the humidors again. I'm like, ooh, I remember that 55. I'm gonna grab one of these. It's been a minute. So we back home with the 55.
That's what it is. Well, for me today, I got the Arturo Fuente Don Carlos. I got the Robusto. I got this in Robusto, and everything on this is Dominican except for the wrapper, which is Cameroon. So
Okay.
that's what I'm smoking today. That's all I got on, and I ain't really got no special story. We rock with our Arturo around here, man.
It's Arturo. It's Arturo.
It's Arturo.
Fuente,
Enough said.
Don
Yeah.
Carlos, namesake.
But man, look, so I want to jump back into this music subject, and I got it, man. I don't even know which way I want to There are two topics on music I kind of want to touch on, man. But let's go this way. I'm gonna go here with music
Okay.
to take the scenic route to the conversation I actually want to have about music. So I was thinking about,
Okay.
man,
Okay.
today before we got on air, I was waiting on the link to come out, and I was just like listening to some older songs. Now, when I say older, I don't mean like 70s, 80s. I mean like tens older. And I just was
Okay.
kind of
Okay.
going through
Okay.
some of the little hits of the tens, and I just had this. It made me sad, bro. Like I almost got emotional for a moment. I was like, man, tighten up, man. Because I got to thinking to myself. I got to thinking to myself how important music is to taking me to moments in my life, and
Oh
how
yeah. Oh yeah.
songs can put certain emotions from that time frame back into me, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm transferred right back into that window of time, and I feel how I felt during that time. And I just had the realization that I don't have any music like that in this era. Like, at
And
least
when you
probably
say era, you
the
mean
last
like
two or
over the
three
last
years.
10 years, the last decade?
Nah, not that far, but at least the
5
last
years?
post-COVID, 21,
Okay.
22,
Okay. Okay.
23,
That's
somewhere in
5
that
years.
area it starts. Within the last 3 to 5 years, I just don't think I got music that really represents the era. And it just made me feel like, dang,
Dang.
is that the direction life is going? Like, will the rest of the life I not have music to fall back on to say
That's
this was indicative of the time I lived, like as a reminder of where I was, how I was living, what I was feeling?
you know what I mean. Like when you mention that, that is a frightening concept. From the way that we look at music, the way we appreciate music, the way we love music, the way
Yeah,
we latch on to music, that it means what you mean, like what you're saying to us, and that is a terrifying thought. To saying that, hey, look, everything that's nostalgic to me is tied to something 10 years prior or 10 years or further back. There's not going to be any new moments because those moments are special. Like when you think about it, those moments are it feels good to look back at it. And then even in a moment, like once we got to a certain age, I can recognize the moment to say this is my vibe right now, that this is my moment. And to live in that
yeah,
moment and then get past that moment and look back at it and you understand how special those times are. It's
yeah.
like, man, are we just at
These
that
songs
age to
were the
where it's
soundtracks to that moment, that window of time. This was the soundtrack to that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so like is there not going to be anything else special to look forward to? And then to get to that moment, to appreciate that moment, and then eventually look back on that moment. Is it over? That's that's terrifying. That's terrifying. If you go back to our college year, I don't even go back to college. Let me go back to middle school, man.
I
Let me
can
go
I
back to
can go all
middle
the way back to
school,
childhood. I can go back to
childhood,
riding in the
elementary
car with
school.
my mom and just looking out the window, thinking stuff is like 7, 8 years old, like just having thoughts about
Yeah,
life, how these songs played. But that's why I'm fond of songs from the 70s and 80s, because this was in the
yeah,
90s, and I'm these were the soundtracks of my youth in the
that we
90s.
that
So
we were
now,
listening to. Yeah,
yeah, and then not to mention along with the music we had in the 90s. But now I can't. I don't want to tie my soundtrack to the 20s to music from the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just
but
like,
here's what I challenge though. Is it the lack of special moments now, or is it the music itself? Because I feel like we can still find some music that could still represent where we are, but are we finding our moments now special?
nah,
Are
bro.
are, are, are we
I
are, we- are
don't.
we are we still trying to chase the drug effect of how we felt when we were at this stage in life or that stage in life and this transition in life?
I get
Is it the music
exactly
or is it
what you're
us?
saying. I get exactly what you're saying, but the moments will always exist. But
Hmm.
because I love music the way I do, I don't have a soundtrack to the moments now. I have movies
Yeah,
with no soundtrack. The movie's gonna happen. It's gonna happen
the
regardless.
movie's gonna happen,
I
but no
can't.
soundtrack. The soundtracks aren't
I
the
have no
same.
soundtrack. The soundtrack ain't the same to it now. I don't have nothing attached
That's
to go
that
back.
that's
I have my
that's
memory
that's
to go
that's the
back
double
to.
that's a double entendre, because like with movies, soundtracks ain't hit like they used to hit back in the 70s, 80s,
They don't.
90s,
They don't.
2000s. You know what I'm saying? The
It ain't
Soul
no
Food
set it off
soundtrack,
soundtracks no more. It ain't no
Set It Off
soul food.
soundtrack, Don't Be a
Yeah,
Minute soundtrack, Boys in the Hood
stuff
soundtrack.
they
You know what I'm saying?
done.
So like just like with our lives, is there a soundtrack to our lives now? And you can make a good point because I can remember last week I was sitting on my patio smoking a cigar, and I'm on Amazon. I use Amazon for my main music source, and I'm just hitting skip, 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 skip. Oh, that sounds cool, but it don't sound special. Skip,
Skip, skip,
skip,
skip.
skip. I'm just looking for new. I'm looking for new songs. Like I'm looking for like I'm not pulling up anything from the past. I'm going through all the new music that's out on the new playlists and stuff like that. And I'm just hitting skip after skip after skip after skip. And like I don't really have anything to sit back and really take in this moment while I'm smoking this cigar to right now, other than playing something like you said, maybe that came out 5 years ago or later. So
Yeah.
you got a good point there. Because so I would say that. So I answered my own question, I guess. Because like I do think that I try to find special moments or moments when I try to slow down life and just take in the moments. And I think you do too. We had this conversation, but it's like, what else? What is going along with this moment? What do I have? I feel like it's out there, but I feel like the saturation is just too great.
Bro,
The
there was a point in
saturation and
time
the
when
curation of the music is not exclusive anymore to create the moment.
I want to come back to that because now we're actually about to work our way into the real conversation I wanted to have.
Hmm.
But I want to say this: when we first started smoking cigars, that's a beautiful ass you got going on there. Let me ask you this. Me, when I started smoking cigars, I had music playing while I was smoking my
Oh yeah.
cigars.
Oh yeah.
I rarely smoke a cigar to music now. I smoke it to my own thoughts. I smoke it to maybe a podcast or a YouTube video or something. You know what I'm saying? But I don't smoke it to music quite as often. But when I do smoke it to music, it's something from back in the day, whatever back in the day is. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't from within the
Yeah.
last year, in most cases, very
Yeah.
rarely. So for yourself, you said you was flipping through music, looking for music. Do you find yourself smoking cigars to music less often than you did in the past, and
I
more
do.
so to other things?
Yeah, I do. I do. I put on a YouTube video before well, not before I put on music, but eventually I found myself, like you said, listening to some kind of or watching some kind of YouTube video while I'm smoking my cigar.
Right.
Because like I would get to the point of being tired of flipping through music that forget it, forget the music.
There you
Let me just go
go.
find
It ain't gonna
whatever
work.
content that I
You
can
gave up on music.
watch.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if this goes along with what you were gonna say, but it's gonna go along with something I thought about too. That the media that we consume is a lot. We cover it a lot differently now. That podcasters, streamers, they're the biggest personalities now, more so the musicians are. So maybe for that fact too,
Yeah,
that hey,
but
nobody's finding special music. That we rather sit
the,
back and listen to somebody talk to us for an hour and a half than listen to music for an hour and a half now.
no, it's not that I would rather. It's just I'm forced to, unless I'm just gonna
Forced
go
to. Yeah,
back
yeah, yeah,
to.
yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, you're forced to.
Now, with that being said, I don't feel like it's going to change because, and here's where I wanted to go. We have individuals like Timbaland making his
Hmm.
relationship with this Suno AI company,
AI,
who
yeah.
is, allowing him to now sign his first AI artist, some little Asian girl he created. And, he's stealing music from other people to now produce new music. And it's just like,
Yeah.
how does AI ever, is it gonna make better music better? Is it just gonna make it less soulful music? I mean, once this
It's
happens,
got to be less soulful. Yeah.
if it's actually successful, what is to stop the music industry from going that direction? We know the music game is just nothing but a bunch of D riders, so they're gonna hop
Yeah.
on the bandwagon if this is successful.
Yeah. So if you ask me, the way it looks like, check this out, is music has become soulless anyway. Like back when we used to have soulful musicians, playing that soul, whether they playing the bass, whether they playing the drums, whether they playing them Rhodes, them Fender Rhodes, whether they're doing, you know what I'm saying, singing, rapping, whatever it is, they put a soul in the music. That mattered to us back in the day. But if you listen
Yeah.
to music over the last 5 years or so, it's not a lot of soul in music anymore. It's all
Yeah.
vain music. It's all let me do something catchy and cool, whatever, which makes replacing it just that much easier. Because the ads for it with the newest generation coming through for us, we still want it. We still want to feel it. We still want that Mary J. Blige. We still want that KC and JoJo. You know what I'm saying? Sing to me like you got some kind of emotion in what it is that you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Give me that Nas. Tell me a story of what you see from your personal experience. Break it down to
Yeah.
me to where I can see your perspective. But if you go over
Yeah.
the last 5 years or so, all the music has been just cookie cutter
Swag music.
music,
Yeah.
swag music, or whatever it is that I'm just putting out a vibe, not
Yeah.
soul, just putting out a vibe. So it's easy to recreate a vibe based on AI, but it's not easy to recreate emotion based on
Yeah.
AI. So the music industry is gonna look at it like, okay, I don't got to deal with personalities. I ain't got to worry about this. I ain't got to worry about that. You know, I can create a whole individual, and the visuals with the. Have you seen these TikTok videos where like they making this AI scenarios and it actually look
Yeah.
like real people, and it's like we're just prompts and this and that. And if I can create an individual who looks real, they can create some catchy stuff, and I can make whatever imagery I need to make, and I ain't got to deal with the personality of the artist anymore, or pay the artist.
Right.
And then guess what? Music is soulless anyway. And I can create an AI artist that's soulless and be able to sell your own music. And the thing is, you would never know the difference because music has become so soulless that you can't even
Yeah.
tell the difference between what's going to be somebody who's not a real person versus someone who is a real person, because their artists today aren't forced to put that soul into their art anymore.
That's a good point. Because I go back to the producers who click with the mouse and
Mm-hmm.
they teach these tutorials to try to make it sound more realistic. But what's the
Mm-hmm.
difference between that and the algorithm? I mean, not the algorithm. What's the difference between that and AI though, who is just trying to figure
Yeah.
out a way to imitate the soul? So like they'll
Yeah.
do little things to make it sound less robotic, and as a
Mm-hmm.
producer term, on the grid, and take it off the grid so it sounds more
Off the
human,
grid.
more flawed. But it still doesn't necessarily get the emotion across because you can play seventh and ninth and 11th chords and 13th chords if you want. If you
We
want
don't
to
know
get
what you're
extra
talking about.
jazzy,
We don't
right?
know what you're talking
Honey,
about.
yeah, you're right. You don't know. Yeah, but you can play these chords that are thought to give these emotions, but if you don't play it with an emotion or a feeling, you know what I'm saying, or there's a passion that comes through it in play people's
Yeah.
playing. You know what I'm saying, that
Yeah.
you can't copy through clicking. And now, like you
You
say,
can't.
we've already introduced the click game. So now what's the difference between that and a computer
Yeah.
doing the same?
Music has already become so artificial that it's not gonna make a difference coming in. You know what I'm saying? As long as somebody can make something catchy, they can make a dance to it, put it on TikTok, it's out of here. It's out of here. So Timbaland's right on time with his shift into the AI world with the AI artists. That you can't even be mad at it. You can't be mad at it.
Well, you
The
can be
music
mad at
industry and
because,
well, no, you can.
but
We can be mad at it.
I understand him doing it in the sense of the game ruined anyway. And I think there's a part of
Mhm.
him that's like, he want to be back on
Why
top.
fight against the machine? Yeah, and why fight against the machine?
Why fight
Because guess
against him?
what? If I put all my heart and my soul into artists, in which Timbaland is somebody who is qualified to do it, right? Because you've seen Timbaland's work over the last 30 years. He's put his heart and his soul into music over the last 30 years. So if anybody's qualified to do it, he is one of the ones who is qualified to do it and to say, you know what? I don't feel like my art's being appreciated anyway. If I spent all these hours to make this dope Justin Timberlake album or record, but the consumers aren't feeling it the way I want them to feel it. And then with artists, you know how it is being an artist. If somebody's not appreciating your heart and soul that you put into your creation, it's like Okay, then whatever. Then why did I do this? Because we want to feel validated in what we did and appreciated in what we created. Because we are creatives. But if it's not appreciated, then why? Why did I do this? Why did I spend, you know what I'm saying, like my last album I put out? Why did I spend all these years to create what I felt like was the final product of the Reflection album and record all these songs and make all these beats and spend all these hours trying to come up with lyrics and deliver the lyrics the right way and go back and fix this and fix that just to put it out for nobody to appreciate it? Why? When I can just drop a quick AI and it go to the moon? Why? And
This is
Timbaland
where
is somebody who is qualified to do it, even though he should be the one, the pioneer, to say let's bring it back to the essence of music. He's put his work in.
That's where I'm torn, because Timbaland is the guy who is big enough to say let's bring it back, but instead, I think he's not doing this for the next generation or to help music. This is done selfishly because I think he wants another run. And I think if Timbaland was still having a run right now,
he wouldn't do it.
He wouldn't do it. This is all a part of him still having another run. And
that's what I'm saying. But that's why I say he's qualified though. He's had his runs, and then maybe he feels like even if I try, would I be successful? Will I be appreciated? And if the answer is no,
hey bro, leave the Timbaland older than both of us, bro. It's not your game no more. Let the kids have a game, but don't mess up all the parts on the board before you leave. Like, he's trying to get a game. He's trying to win at a game that ain't his no more, and he's like, forget it. I might as well get on the future wave. And he's always been a pioneer.
And be ahead of the game. I think what he's trying to do is just say, look, let me go ahead and get ahead of the game. Let me go ahead and get ahead of the game.
I don't like that from him. It's like you're done. You're done, bro. Just don't ruin it. You know what I'm saying? But I had a homeboy that told me the same thing. My homeboy told me, he said, I ain't make no money off of the way to get. Look, in hip hop is different. If you look, let me say this. My homeboy said to me,
him ain't just hip hop though.
He said, my homeboy told me, I ain't make no money off of doing it the old way, so forget it. If I can make some money off of doing it this way, I'll do it the AI way. And Timbaland shouldn't have that mindset. You know what I'm saying? Because you're ruining this industry and you're ruining this game because you still want to have this big run, but nobody's run is forever lasting. Tim, you've been on 30 years. Your 30 is up, my dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now, whatever you get, you get. But run off into the future and just get your legend award at the end of it and leave the game where there's a game for actual people who love this music the way you love it. But the way he's doing it, he's like, hey, man, the problem is he's big enough that he can affect the game and ruin it the wrong way. If he was small, it'd be like
he's big enough. Yeah, he's big enough to take it either way. He's big enough to teeter it either way. So I get that point. Yes. I get that point. But at the same time, man, like, well, and then okay, you're about to make your point against my point before I even make my point, because I'm not a Timbaland, nowhere close to a Timbaland. But you remember my gripes with the way music was before, right? Or the way music was changing. And I'm like, why am I fighting against it? Why don't I just go with it? Let me grab these drum packs. Let me grab these packs to just Lego the music like everybody else and put this on BeatStars and get a couple beat sales. Because that's the way the music industry, or not even just the music industry, the consumers make you feel. If I can just do these and create this, and then that gives me more respect or less or similar, why not just do it this way? But I get it. Timbaland's big enough to change the tide. But at the same time, if he's tired, he's tired. And it's like, you know what? I might as well get ahead of the wave before the wave gets going. And this is contradictory for me to say this, because I understand. But at the same time, I understand.
I get it too. But Tim got on board with the loop packs and all that stuff too. You should, because it's going to be a soon. But he's been on board with the changes, and he's trying to get on board with another change. But the one missing piece from Timbaland is he don't realize how big he is. I don't think he sees himself the way that everyone else sees himself. If he did, he would know he's messing things up for the people because he's big enough to mess things up. I don't think he realized that. I think he just like still competing like the rest of us. And it's like, no, bro, you're not the rest of us.
Why, if you go back to the very first episode that we did, and you said the Mount Rushmore producers, you asked me that question on episode 1.
Yeah.
Episode 1. We're talking about 129 episodes ago. And we came down to 2 last producers. And it was between Timbaland and Jermaine Dupri. And where did I land? I landed with Jermaine Dupri. No, I landed with Jermaine Dupri. I landed with JD. And if you look at the trajectory of the two, even since that conversation, 7 years ago now?
Yeah.
That'd be about 7 years ago now. JD is one of those producers who are still getting it the way that he got it before.
Yeah.
In the lab with musicians, writing, constructing the beat, producing it from the ground up, and then winning at it.
Yeah.
So you got a point there, because if JD can still do it, and JD can still push it, and he can still chart top. Money Long was on the top of the charts, but with her joint last year for a tremendous run,
Right.
And he got it the way that he always would get to it, by just doing it the way that a musician should, that a real producer should. So you got a point.
Tim
Timbaland's
could,
big
man,
enough to keep certain things at bay, to say, no, this is not the way yet. The way we can still get it, and the way we can still chart top, is the way that we've always done it.
Yeah, him being all in on it is just destructive, man. It's destructive, and I don't think. And man, look, at the end of the day, Timbaland is a former drug addict. I think he's clean now, but he's a former drug addict, admitted on his own. I don't think his head is clear. He ain't thinking in a clear headspace, man. You know what I'm saying? Like it is.
Oh no, wait. Are you saying Timbaland's in the Kanye mode? Is he done?
I think he ain't done, but he got Kanye. He got some residue on him. He got to get off of him, man. You know what I'm saying? His head ain't where it need to be at, man. Like he's thinking narrow-minded, man. I literally think he's like, man, forget the game. He's too far in the future, man.
Well,
I don't think he's seeing the whole puzzle clearly because of that.
It comes along with maybe being jaded by the game. If you're jaded by the game long enough, maybe you're just like whatever now, you know, because you love the game so much.
Yeah,
you love the game so much, and you contribute to the game so much, and you don't feel like he gave enough back to you.
Yeah,
and that's either an issue with the game, and then also a character flaw, to where like a lot of these musicians, like you said, they don't see their work, they don't understand how big they are, and they don't understand like the impact that they have had, and they're able to appreciate the impact that they've had. They're always, and I think I suffer from it just a little bit, not to their extreme, because I'm not on their level, but it's like you always want to be appreciated at the utmost of what you feel like you've contributed, or what you're able and capable of doing. Right. And sometimes you're not able to appreciate the love that you have received in your realm. Yeah. Like I have people who appreciate what I've done, and if I go look at my blogs or if I look at my posts, and I see Timbo's the king, but then I focus on, and Timbo ain't doing like he used to. That one comment Timbo over the 2000, it sits out more to you, and I think that's a character flaw in a lot of these artists, is they hyper focus on not being appreciated by just a few and missing the overall appreciation of the many.
Yeah, and I'm glad you broke that down the way you did, because that's the important part. Whenever we speak on people that we know from TV or celebrities or whatever, you always got to bring the human element into it and look at these people and understand they have human emotions like us, and they deal with the same issues we deal with. So when you put it that way, I like that you framed it that way, because that makes it real. Timbo as legendary as he is, he's a regular dude still dealing with his own feelings about his own legacy and where he's at and where he feel like he should and what's owed to him and the respect he thinks he deserved. And that's why I said earlier, he don't see himself how we see him. And if he did, he wouldn't be behaving. He wouldn't be doing this. This wouldn't be his route.
He wouldn't be behaving this way. Yeah.
Yeah, this wouldn't be his route that he
You
would
out of
take,
character, man. You out of character. Yeah, I feel you. I agree 1,000%.
Yeah,
I
agree with
1,000%.
that. He does not. He don't feel like he's getting his just due for whatever reason, but he is. But he don't see it.
But it's like at some point, just like we talked about, like with getting to a point of looking back in nostalgia and be like, you know what, I did that back in the day, but I'm here now, and being able to sit on your porch and on your rocking chair, and not saying that Timbo got to be on his rocking chair on his porch, but just sit back and like look at the contribution that I had. Look at what I did. I'm good. And I think now more so than ever, we're having a problem with people being like, I'm good. I did that. That was then, look, this is now.
There's a lot of producers, man, that didn't reach the peaks and the heights that Timbaland reached, but they just stayed they went the Rick Ross route and they just stayed kind of consistently here in the middle. And they're still working to the day. And then you get the guys like a Pharrell who hit the Timbo's level, but he still has relationships with people that's still active. So he's able to get him a record here and there. Same with a JD, like you mentioned. But I'm thinking Timbo must have burned some bridges, man. And the people that he did have great relationships with, they not active no more. The Timberlakes and the Jay-Z's and stuff. That was, those were his biggest
that was bread and butter. Yeah.
And now they gone. And it's just like, now when you hear a Timbo beat, it sound like anybody else beat. The last joint I heard from was with J. Cole. It sound like anybody else.
A regular beat.
Like somebody out of the loop.
It didn't come off as Timbo. Only it's because of what he's producing now.
Say what?
It comes with how he's producing now. Like I've watched his producing, and it's like it doesn't feel as special.
It's not as special. It's not as special, and that's something he gotta look himself in the mirror and figure that out. How do I adjust?
Because it comes down to how it was done back in the day versus how producing is done now. Like okay. So he's on the Ableton wave. And I don't want to get to this conversation because it might be way too far from people's understanding. But you and I know what we're talking about. So he's on the Ableton wave. But back in the day when it used to be more so a manual situation to where you're grabbing your sounds. You're getting your sounds, not stock sounds, not sound packs. It's the fact that a lot of these producers are using these sound packs and not creating their own sounds anymore. So Timbaland sound like everybody else, and he's not as special because you're not going about it the way that you used to go about it, which is why I appreciate JD. Because I watched JD and his production
still the same
today, still the same. Still putting a record on there. Still throwing it into MPC, still chopping the samples how he used to chop the samples, and doing what he has to do in order to create the sounds. That's what Timbo's missing.
But this is the thing: when they come to a Timbaland, when you come to a Pharrell, when you come to these people, you come for a sound. Mm-hmm. If you're not producing in a way that's going to give you a unique sound, why do I need to go to you for this extra expensive record? Because it's your name on it, but it sounds like the guy in the attic
20 times the price of somebody else who can do the same thing.
Yeah, in his basement. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, what's the difference at this point in time? So that's on him. That's on him. He's way too advanced, too smart, too musically inclined for me to pity him. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know more than all of us. You forgot more than we all know, bro. Like, go be great.
But,
you know what I'm saying? Following the path.
At the same time,
and the 2000s is back. He should be popping right now.
AI is the way it's gonna go, and he's just throwing in the white flag. You're like, you know what? This is it. I feel like AI is going to be the way. I'm gonna say this: by 2028, 2027, you're going to see a good handful of AI artists. You've already listened to some AI music and streams, and whether it's jazz music, neo soul music, R&B, whatever it is, they have been 100% curated as AI. And I have to admit, it feels weird to know that human hands didn't do this, and this is not an actual human voice.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it sounds palatable. I'm not gonna say it sounds great, but it sounds palatable.
It's
And I can
palatable, but
imagine
it's
in 2 more years when they get the AI software even more, you know what I'm saying, polished, it's gonna be even more crazy.
I know we got
We're
to
gonna
close this
have
out, but
yeah.
I want to say this. It sounds palatable, but it does not have a lot of replay value at this point in time. And I'll tell
It
you
doesn't.
another
It
reason
doesn't.
that it sounds palatable is because they're literally taking people's music at this point in time, from my understanding of
Mm-hmm.
it. They're the same
Mm-hmm.
way that we would sample someone in like little clip. They're basically sampling people's music, but not crediting artists for it. They're doing interpolations, but not crediting artists for it, which is a lot of what the beef is with it. So when you think you're hearing these original productions, these are just
It's not really original. Yeah, it's stolen music.
it's people's stuff that they just ain't. It's you took somebody small and you took their stuff, and ain't nothing they can do about it. You know what I'm saying? Like AI is just using it, and that's a lot of the issue with it. And from my understanding, you run into that issue with Chat GPT also. You're quoting people's word, they're quoting people's works when you think you're getting help on your homework, but they're just taking people's stuff, but nobody's getting credit for it. So
Yeah,
that's
because
the tough part.
all this stuff is just sitting in the database, and ChatGPT is pulling out the database and compiling it together.
Compiling it
And
together.
I better not hear no nod on somebody's music, man. If I hear some nod champa music somewhere, I'm flipping the table.
It could easily happen, but that's why it's palatable. They're just taking whatever's fitting from other people's stuff out of this database. So yeah, it's gonna sound good because you picking from the best people's. Okay, this
Yeah.
chord progression from this person, this drum from this person, and you
But
just
so
piecing it
imagine
together.
this over the next 2 years when the database gets even bigger because people gonna keep creating music and it's uploaded on these databases. Guess what? We just got bigger pools to pull from,
But
and the
my
AI
point,
gets more and more polished. It's over. It's an
only
AI industry now.
only when AI is able to not steal our work. That's the problem. If it's be one thing if you're taking the information and learning how to create original music, they're not doing that. It's not
Mhm.
original music if you're sampling from 3 or 4 places and putting it together. You took 3 or 4 samples and you need to credit 3 or 4. If I took 3 records to make a beat, I got to clear that. You know what I'm saying? Like from
Yeah,
all 3 places I took something from. If
yeah.
I interpolate a record, I have to acknowledge this is a interpolation of this person's work. And until if I thought AI was doing it, apparently they're not. They're just sampling
They're
like
not. Yeah,
anybody
yeah,
else.
yeah, yeah.
So
They're
until
not
they can
crediting in the
create
resource where AI pulled it from.
correct. So until they can actually make their own original music, it ain't nothing. It ain't nothing. And I don't know how far away they are from getting there because they're not there yet. But it sounds good. But of course, it sounds good when you take a finished part from this record and a finished part from this record and just combine it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Match, and then boom, you got whatever.
yeah,
And I'm about to chat GPT some non-champion music and see if I can find some. Who's
yeah,
stealing
you're
my
gonna find.
music out there,
Yeah, there you go. Well, man, yeah, that's that, man.
man?
That's that. Man,
Oh
you want
man,
to get into these sticks though, man? The review
yeah,
of
we can
them,
talk
we
about
didn't
it
give much attention to them anyway.
later. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about my 55. Man, 55, Rocky Patel, as good as I always remember it to be. And I feel ashamed that I don't have enough of these in my stash. Remember we talked about there'll be signs? There'll be signs
Yeah.
when I have fully stocked humidors with my top 5, top 10 favorites. There'll be signs. I have my humidor and I can go pull me a Placencia. I can pull me a 55. I can pull me a what's my other Year of the Snakes,
Yeah.
all the ones I love. There'll be signs. And 55 should be one of those ones I have at least a handful of. Not a lot, but at least a handful. So the nice oak barrel taste that I got from it, some good strong earthy tobacco, some almond type flavors, a little bit of cocoa here and there, some coffee bean type of cocoa coffee bean type of mixture that I have in it. It's a nice little smorgasbord of those types of flavors that are kind of mashed together. Rocky Patel does all that very well in this 55. Um, you can tell it's a special cigar. And as you saw, the quality was great. I bought this a week ago, and I did not put it in the humidor for a full week. And you saw that ash on that bad boy. That tells you the quality is top notch, top notch. One of the most well constructed sticks I've ever had from Rocky has always been in this 55. So shout out to the 55. I can't remember how I rated it. I think I spoke it on the show years back. But if I had to rate it today, based on what my palate is today, it's a solid 4.1, easily 4.1.
Okay. All right. So for me in the Don Carlos, I have I would say this Arturo Fuente Don Carlos is had good construction. It had very good draw, good aroma on the cigar smoke. It had cocoa and almond notes also, like you mentioned for your cigar. Some cedar, subtle leather, subtle pepper, a little bit of sweetness, soft on the end of it. And I would say that's primarily the things that I picked up on throughout this cigar. I would say 4.2 is my rating for the Don Carlos.
Yeah, Fuente, man, I love Fuente. I got to keep Fuente on stash as well. Definitely
Yeah.
Fuente on hand. It's like anytime stick type of deal. Did you feel that way with this Don Carlos?
Oh,
You
without a
still get
doubt.
an anytime feel with it?
Anytime. Yeah, anytime. I the type of cigar, like you said, if there will be signs when you got just a bunch of them, if you need some, somebody bought me a box of Carlos, or if I bought myself a box, I'd go through it pretty quick, relatively
Yeah,
fast.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Because it'd
yeah.
be the one that I would not feel bad about smoking regularly. You know how like you have some
Mhm.
you feel like this is a
I
special
can't smoke this one
occasion.
yet. Yeah, I can't smoke this one yet. Yeah.
This is one that I'd be like, I could smoke anytime, not feel bad about it, but know it was going to hit the spot every time I
Yeah,
do it. That type of stick. So it's
yeah, for sure.
definitely a box purchase type cigar. I think we starting to look at the V series from the V Milano is that
Oliva.
type of stick,
Yeah,
and this
that's the
falls
keeper
into that same category where it's just like
for sure.
anytime it's gonna work. I don't have to save it and feel guilty if I smoke it, and I'm gonna feel good every time I smoke it. Not saying this is the Oliva, but that category of cigar where it's
Be careful
worthy
what
of
you
a box.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Now shout out to Arturo Fuente and Don Carlos namesake.
yeah,
Yeah, but all
definitely.
right, man.
All right, well, shoot, man. That's this week's episode of the Cigars and Everything Else podcast, man. Y'all keep y'all cigars up high. Don't let your beats get leaked online to AI, and don't get
Yeah,
caught
and
with
if you hear some
Woody.
mag floating around there, let me know.
There you go. There you go. We out.